What is up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the ever-charming Dr. Disaster, and we got some funny and interesting Disney info to go over. For the past year or so, Bob Iger's focus has been on cutting costs at Disney. It seems their moronic decisions are finally catching up to them financially. Disney's coffers are running dry.
What is this? What is this? Where's all the money?
I'm sure that all the woke filmmakers are still assuring Mr. Iger that there's still money to be had in their particular genre of filmmaking, known as the box office bomb. But perhaps, reality is reasserting itself.
That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs.
Well, we got news that the Marvel studio may be having some major budget problems, so pour one out for the hopes and dreams of Marvel stans everywhere. Turns out that shifting focus away from the mostly male audience who does not give a shit about their progressive politics and focusing instead on an imagined audience who does not support their products may have been a silly idea.
Boy, everyone is stupid except me.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also don't forget to follow me on Twitter where my handle is Dr. Disaster1. But here we go, let's take a look at some of the news that Disney and Marvel Studios are having a few money issues. We're gonna start by looking at this fluff piece about Mark Ruffalo from GQ. It's a long article, but we're going to skip down to here where it talks about Marvel. This is what it says. Marvel is currently going through an identity crisis. Post-Avengers Endgame, the studio has struggled to form a cohesive narrative that ties its properties together. Recent release, The Marvels, is the studio's worst performing film ever, and its streaming shows on Disney Plus are reportedly struggling to consistently attract big audiences. Meanwhile, fans are still waiting to be convinced to care about its new stable of heroes introduced after the departure of Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Chris Evans' Captain America.
I've been saying it. I've been saying it for 10 damn years. Ain't I been saying it, Miguel? Huh? I've been saying it.
It is interesting to me how blatantly the mainstream media are saying what we have been saying in these spaces for the better part of a decade by now. But anyway, the article continues. I think the expansion into streaming was really exciting, but the thing about Marvel movies is you had to wait 3 years and that created a mystique, Ruffalo says. These corrections could be really positive things. Will it be what it was? I don't know. Whether Ruffalo will return as Hulk is up in the air. I'd love to do a standalone Hulk, I just don't think that's ever going to happen, he says. The CGI for the character is costly to produce, even though Ruffalo says it's likely to have come down in price over the years as technology has advanced. It's very expensive if you did a whole movie, which is why they use the Hulk so sparingly. I priced myself out. So, Marvel can't afford to make a Hulk film? I wonder why.
Weird.
Maybe it's because of all the off-putting shit that the filmmakers do and say about a large chunk of their audience. Maybe it's their insistence on capturing a woke and or female audience for things like Marvel, which hasn't exactly panned out. I mean, they spent $300 million plus on the Marvels, but that imagined audience never came out to support it. They spent damn near $400 million to show Indiana Jones getting one-upped by a grating female counterpart, but once again, the imagined audience never came to support it. Disney spent $200 million on She-Hulk, it was a massive failure, and then they spent another $200 million on Secret Invasion, another failure of the highest magnitude. So why can't they pony up for another Hulk movie? It's been going on 2 decades since we saw one, and the character is wildly popular. Well, I think Ruffalo spilled the beans, though he didn't mean to. It's a matter of economics. I can't imagine that paying him to act as the Hulk and add all that CGI would make it any more expensive than paying Brie Larson for a Captain Marvel movie. I mean, they made She-Hulk, which was filled with CGI, and they did it for $200 million. They don't want to admit it, but I think Bob Iger and crew are clamping down and saying, hell no, we are not spending like that again until we have a sure thing. Of course, he's misdiagnosing the problem. He won't admit to the public, or even himself, I'm sure, that their woke attitude is bleeding viewership. But here is more evidence that Marvel is being denied the massive funding that they once enjoyed. This tweet comes from Hollywood scooper Daniel Richtman. He says, Marvel not developing too many live-action shows at the moment, focusing on animated stuff and live-action movies. Next live-action shows we'll get from them will be more grounded. Well, let's parse through some of that language there. Grounded means stuff like Daredevil or Echo, as opposed to stuff like She-Hulk and Secret Invasion. In other words, it means stuff without CGI, so it will be a hell of a lot cheaper. As I said at the top of the video, Bob Iger has been ruthlessly cutting costs across the entire company. This has included layoffs, and the wokesters out there who don't actually give a shit about people were unfazed. They said it was no big deal. Disney can keep carrying on in their divisive ways without change. But maybe they'll care when Marvel isn't spitting out 3 movies and 4 TV shows every year. They won't have anything to pretend to give a shit about. It's kind of like when these idiots advocate for some boneheaded economic policy, and it's perfectly fine, and they don't see a problem with it, not until it affects them personally. I tell you what, if you tell them they can't get their avocado toast or their soy latte to start the day, as they wake up at a little before noon, they'll start bitching and whining incessantly, but they're in a pickle. Do they admit the failings of what they've advocated for years with Disney, or do they suffer in silence as they don't get what they want? It's going to be funny to watch it all play out. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.